All right, shalom, shalom, shalom. We have made it. I always kind of check and see. I know we have a short delay there. Kind of check and see to make sure everything was going the way that it should. Sometimes, so we'll get see the early birds a shout out here. We'll see who's there. Okay, all right. Shalom, shalom to those of you that's definitely in the room. All right, I'm sure that more is coming, and maybe those that's not even in the room would be able to be with us and stuff. So it's good. It's a good thing. We're going to, like Felicia's right here, Holly, shout out, shalom, shalom, in that. So, all right. We gonna be continuing the Proverbs, right? And the day is the 29, and I think that's the last one that we would do far as doing the challenge. And most of you by now, we had a challenge each day to read a chapter a day, whichever day that it was. So the day, that's the reason we're doing 29. And then, of course, last week, I think we did, 15, what was it, 22? Then we had 15 and 8, of course. So if you want to go back and look at those, you can. Hopefully they will be an encouragement to you. But we've been really, really just kind of building, and also we've been, some of us been writing those things out, reading and writing them out, and doing the Hebrew and all that. So all of those things was real good. They've been good, and we are almost at the door. Where we got a couple of days to go, and we can say that those that are definitely finished in that. So we appreciate that. All right, they got Anthony, of course, is in the room. All right, we appreciate all the things that the Father always give us to be a finisher in that. So hopefully we can carry it up, catch up, and do all those things, and get those things together to encourage us in that. And so, gentlemen, on today, I'm always trying to pull something up here. On today, of course, we'll deal with, and what we've been doing is we kind of been, whatever chapter it is, we just go get some verses, whatever. When we was reading, we kind of say that those verses that kind of stand out to us, we kind of try to see which one would be something that we can deal with. So that's the thing in that, and there's so much in there. I think today I kind of got really stuck, and I was really on two of them myself. So I'll see what you gentlemen come up with before I go in, because if I go in, I may not never come out. A couple of things that really, really is in my heart about this. So I want to make sure that we can share with one another, and that's what it's all about. Hopefully, those of you that may be listening at this a little later or looking at it however you prefer, that it will be an encouragement. So there's so many aspects of the scriptures that we do have. So when we going forth as a disclaimer or whatever, sometimes we want to try to bring these things up in the 2025s, so so really, when I looked at it, even the one I was looking at, is so many things that can relate to, and how we can relate those things. Hopefully we never take those things out of context, but we can always enhance the way that we may look at something, and go forth in that. So that's what we want to do on tonight, to make sure that we're an encouragement to one another, and in that. So if you may see something different, that's fine. Hopefully we can give you something that maybe is another angle in that. So that's really, we'll all be looking out the same window, but all of us will. If you look at the same window, even together, you'll see something different, and your focus will be different. In that. Many times I say that I'm gonna do that as a test one time. So those in the assembly, that's you get a vote, you get the update. He may do that. He may do that as a
Warning,
test.
warning.
Yeah. In that, and to show you about that. what I talk about, because I think I say it a lot. So in that, and just try to clam and see what we want to do. All right. So with no further ado, appreciate that. I think I got it ready. Make sure, check and see. I think I got everybody that's presently in the chat room there. In that, and then I just want to at the end of this, I thought about this, and somebody had mentioned it too. If it's something, sometimes we have any questions or something like that. If you had a question at the end of this, sometimes we're on a little delay, but if you have a question at the we end that we may take a question or something like that. Not a lot because maybe they extend, but we will take some. We'll see how it goes on that. So we'll try that tonight. If you have a question on something or something, clarity in that. Okay. So if it's a question, then we will try to maybe answer it real quick. As long as it's don't, we'll judge it. Okay, so put your question there. We'll judge it. If it's something that we can pertaining to what we are saying on tonight. So as we try this going forward, it has to be in the context of what was discussed, whatever the topics is, whatever that is, then we'll try to do that. We'll open that up for the first time. So this will be the first one going into that. All right. So I know I don't know how much of delay, but I know it's a little delay. So when those questions come, I will give a few minutes to see how the response is because we are live, right? We're live now on the. So if you're looking at this on the, we live. All right, so that's what it is. I don't know how much of a delay it is to others, but when I'm looking at it here, it's definitely a delay when it comes on in that. So, all right, my brother, Jedediah, we'll let you come up and go ahead and pop the cap. Open that bottle for us. All praise to the Most High.
Oh, praise the Most High.
Yes.
Shalom, Elder.
Shalom.
Here we are again and dealing with a different chapter,
Yes, yes,
and that's
absolutely.
every chapter we go through is like, well, we dealing with a chapter of our life, but with the word of Yah.
Yes, yes, absolutely, my
Uh,
brother.
so this chapter, something that stood out to me was verse 11. Um, it says, "A fool lets out all his breath, but the wise calms it down." Different version would say, "A fool gives full vent to his spirit, but a wise man quietly holds it back." And we know Shalomo was, the wisest, one of the wisest men ever walked the earth. So when he's talking about what a wise man looked like, I think it's important for us to pay attention. And this one right here is very important because, anger is a spirit that can cause life changing events for you, for anyone. Anger can cause you to lose your freedom. It can cause you to lose your family. It can cause you to lose your life. And if we don't have a hold on that, and able to suppress that spirit, then we can find ourselves in a bad spot. Um, Another scripture that this reminded me of was, the one that a lot of people may know is Ephesians 4, which is be angry and sin not. You know, um, but also Ecclesiastes 7 and 9 says, "Do not be quickly provoked in your spirit, for anger settles in the lap of a fool." So it's just times when
That's a good one.
someone will bring something. It's usually when we angry at someone and something they did or said. But it's just like, how do we take a step back and actually control what comes out of our mouth and control what our actions is going to be? It's easier said than done because there are
Yeah,
certain
yeah, yeah.
people where it takes time, and even some of the most humblest people, they will get caught off guard because there are certain people who will know which button to push.
Right,
But it's
right.
like, how do we get to that point when we just so in tune with ourselves, in tune with the Father, that we know what not to say and what not to do in certain situations. And it could be hard. It can be
Mm-hmm.
really difficult depending on the situation, especially if you feel like someone disrespected you, and
Oh yeah,
especially if
yeah.
they did it in front of someone else. You
Mm-hmm.
know,
Mm-hmm.
that right there would be really difficult. To not be angry,
Mm-hmm.
but just like Shaul said, be angry and sin not. So my anger shouldn't put me in a place when I'm going to sin.
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
what I believe that Solomon was talking about here is you angry all the time. Like, you find reasons to be angry at times.
Right.
Any any little thing that someone do or say, you just ready to pop off. And another scripture that that came to mind was back when we was in chapter 19,
Mm-hmm.
and verse 11 says, a man's insight gives him patience, and his virtue is to overlook an offense.
Mm-hmm.
How many of us can
Good.
really overlook an offense, though? Because you know um where I come from, someone step on your shoes, everything gonna go up in the air.
Right.
So
Yeah.
someone step on my shoes, can I be like, man, these some new shoes, but it's okay.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And it's just about being able to control yourself in certain situations. And that's really all I have for that, elder.
Well, I think that was really outstanding, my brother. In that, one of the things I think that you hit something that people are even what just do this in my. I always use me to be easier in my own life. In that the struggles of the anger, and one of the things that you clarified is this. Saying this particular thing, this food. He just wants to be angry for anything. Just out of control. You know, and that really, and you hit another one is that a person that is out of control won't have no self control. So you need to have self control because dealing with anger, you could do so much more damage, if you're not in control. Because you'll get to that point, because something calls you to be there. And like you mentioned those things. I think the number one thing for me has always been is disrespect, right? That's the number one thing. So that most times people will immediately be triggered by that. But I think I'm getting real good that the way that you brought it out was good, because you can have frustration in that, but in that time of responding to disrespect, I'm just going to use that, or whatever you're responding to, don't let that be out of control. You will respond to it, but don't let it be out of control. And I think you had brought the scriptures up as well. Is the sin not, And so sometimes I like that because it was some of those scriptures are like those, our favorite, our favorite one-liners. I could be angry, but it says sin not. But okay, what does that mean? And then what does that look like, in that? So that's the whole point, is if you are out of control, you're gonna be somewhere that you shouldn't be, right? And make sure that, like you were saying, that really does my heart good, is don't be that one that just looking for a argument or some way to be angry all the time, right? In that. So when this, just remember that on a normal, right, that those of us in covenant, normally to get that, to have that vent, a way to vent or something like that, you can do that, but it has to be controlled. Now, once it get out of control, that's when they're talking about sin not, because it gets out of control, and before you know it, you be out in the parking lot fighting. You know, you better have swung on somebody, right? So we don't want that to be out of control in that, because what happens is most times there's a lot of feeling in the situation, right? So we have to make sure that, and that's something that we want to do, is make sure that we continue to work on that. I think you know, that's one of the biggest things, that's for somebody to take you there, you know. And then once we get there, then how do we handle it? You know, sometimes I know in my own life I don't always handle those things the best, but it takes me a while to get there, right? So I am handling it to a point, but I have to make sure that if I do begin to be in this place of what we discovered are called anger, that I don't be out of control. You know, so if you can't stop it, you know, that's one way of looking at it, not the only way. So if you're in there and you can't just stop it, you know, be quiet, then it's out of control, you know. So you're gonna have those spots, because it can cause you really to get, you know, to somebody, you know, shoot you or anything, according to what the elevation of it is. Or it could harm the relationship, husband and wife. It's the same thing, you know, just, you know, being out of control. So you're gonna have those spots, and then you know, on what they look like and how they handle that. Have you, any of you gentlemen, been in a spot where you had to handle that, in that, and how did you, the ones that you got victory in, how did you handle that? Any one of you can respond, actually.
Are you referring to
Like a
like
anger,
someone that
yeah.
disrespect our anger?
Right. Yeah,
Um,
disrespected you. Let's say it like that. That's probably one, because we dealing
um,
with it.
yes, sir. And when it came to anger, I there's been times when I felt myself getting angry because of what someone said or did, and my response was just okay, at times, and just not deal with it, you know. But when it comes to disrespect, it's like, is this the time and place to deal with what this person said or did?
Right.
Can
Good.
I
Good.
bring this person to the side and talk to them, let them know, hey, you're not going to do that again. Neither are you going to talk to me like that, And if you feel like you can't respect me, then you probably shouldn't even talk to me, And I'm talking about those who are not in covenant,
Yeah. Yeah.
in the
Yeah.
workplace or something like that. But I know that's the way that I will deal with it. But there's been times when someone's upset me so bad that I just have to go somewhere and isolate myself, because I know, because I can take it there, and I don't want to take it there with anyone. Shaul himself said, if it be possible, live peaceably with all men.
Absolutely.
And we can't forget about the if part, because Shaul knows that all men ain't gonna want to be peaceful with you.
Yeah. Absolutely. That's good stuff. What do you think, my brother?
Oh, I, oh no. I mean, I agree. I don't really think I could add to that. That was
Okay.
very
All
well
right.
put.
Okay. All right. All right. So, and being a wise person, sometimes we the one that holds back, right? You know, we the one that holds back in that. So in the situations that you have, because sometimes I think I said it earlier, is the misconception of it, right? Because if you dealing with some, say for instance, we using the word disrespect, okay? So if somebody disrespect you, then I hold back. Say somebody disrespect me, then I hold back. They did it again, I hold back. I'm being, you know. Then they did it again. Okay, I'm not holding back this time. I'm coming to let you know of what's going on, right? So the two situations, if it's done openly, have to deal with it openly, because the only reason that it was disrespectful to others as the way they see it, then it always have to be done openly. Because sometimes we don't know, when we think that each time you deal with something, it's not deal is it, you shouldn't deal with other people, because that's when the feelings get into it, right? Shouldn't have said that before. Well, you shouldn't have disrespect me in front of everybody. So I'm not going to let you disrespect me in front of everybody and then take you to the side and whisper it in your ear, right? That's not going to happen, because of that. But if the person disrespected me and I just going off each time, never say, I'm just using an example, not it had to be this way. Just going off, then yeah, you're out of control. You out of control with that. And I know in my own life, if normally, even if I deal with something, is how I come out of it. If I didn't dealt with something, unless I'm just saying, well, I'll say among us, among the Hebrew. If I have been dealing with something, is not, unless it's life or death, I'm not addressing it right away. Trying to figure out what's going on. In the way that I look at it, trying to figure out what's going on. In that, and so if say for instance, if somebody came down and I said, could I have a piece of that cake there? And they put it on the plate and threw the plate to me. I said, oh, okay. Oh, wow. So my first thought is, oh, you having a bad day, or something like that. I wonder what's wrong. And I say, well, are you okay today? Or something like that. So I'm just not going to pop off. You didn't have to throw it to me. I asked for it. If you didn't want to give it to me, you're not, okay, you understand? So now we somewhere, So I'm trying to give you the benefit of the doubt because I'm trying to work with you on this, in that, and so we use that word anger for so much. I think in its different contexts, is that person that is out of control, in that, but got a bad temper. I guess we could use too. They just into it with everyone, or something like that. So that's something that we have to look at and that we really, really have to build on. But it takes some practice to do that too as well. But you don't have to respond to everything on the front end of it. I call it, and the way that I'm using it, on the back end, right? In that. So just and that's in the thing of slow to speak too. It's good. We sounding good right now, but can we put that in our life and then do it?
Excuse me.
That's the thing. Can we
Oh
put that in our
man,
life and do
that's
it? That's
hard.
where the thing
Yes, sir.
is. But we have to try each and every time to do that, because we need to get to that point, because we want to be wise men and women, right? All around that. That's those of us in covenant want to be wise men and women. That's what we want to do. So in that, so sometimes the timing is when to say, when not to say. That can be off, and sometimes people may judge you as angry. You're not angry, you know. And then once they say, what are you angry about? That might cause you to get angry, but sometimes you're not angry. So that place could be a little different from each person. So it'd be difficult for me to tell you that you angry, because I don't know where that place is in you. Now, I can say you sound angry to me, but I can't say you are angry, in that. So your
That's hard
action,
for me to learn.
huh?
Oh, my apologies. I was just saying that was hard for me to learn what you just said.
Yeah,
So
yeah, yeah. So no, that you fine. That's the whole the part of that, because sometimes I think we put things or judge others, and we really don't know the others yet. We don't know where their place is of anger, something like that. So something you have to we express ourselves differently, and I think a soft, the scriptures always, a soft answer always does good, in that, and I think as what we have came across even in scriptures here that a soft answer really really does it in that. But sometimes things have to be in a authoritative place, in that. And sometimes when the children around, they jumping off the sofas and stuff, you can't just say stop jumping off the sofa. you you have to put a little authority in it. It's not that you're angry. You have to make sure that they hear you in that. All right, my brother, you come on up. We're not gonna belay that too much and see what you had on a scripture or two, or however you're going.
Well, I'm glad that you spoke on anger. I'd say that is one of those things that it's just looming over me. There's been so many times where you think you've got it under control until you don't, right? So
Mm-hmm.
I definitely hear you on that. And I'd say another thing is you mentioned it in a sense, it are the triggers,
Mm-hmm.
and I give glory to the Most High, all glory to his name, because those triggers, once you're aware of what your triggers are, it should make it easier for you to be that person like Jedediah and you were mentioning.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, what I had to do and what I'm working on is it's everybody. How can I say? I would express my sensitivity towards offenses differently than another person. Like what
Mm-hmm.
you said about feeling disrespected. Each person may handle that on an individual basis. Where what
Right.
may offend this person may not offend that one, and
Absolutely.
what may drive this person to a place of anger may cause this person to recognize it and hold it back. And
Mm-hmm.
it's what when I was listening to you explain that, it's I don't know, it seems like maturity really is the goal when it comes to all of these things.
Mm-hmm.
Because the
Mm-hmm.
better you know yourself, the better you can respond. And if I'm not honest about what type of person I am, I'm going to keep holding up the facade of I got that under control, yet failing to recognize the wake that I'm standing in my own the destruction I caused every time I got angry.
Mm-hmm.
I say what's really what was a trigger for me is clarity. And I know you've mentioned it before. It's like you're not going to get everything every time, and it is
Mm-hmm.
true. You're not. And when it comes down to clarity and communication and transparency and all those things, holding things back, definitely, people have a reason for it. But that was just my 2 cents on that. I really liked it. I think verse 22 went with what you were both saying. So the man of displeasure stirs up strife, and a master of rage has many transgressions. And I was like, wow, that's 100%.
Uh-huh.
If you're easily offended or easily triggered or easily, set on fire, set ablaze, um, truly, I think it would fit the description of what y'all were saying very well. I praise y'all for that. It was very coherent and clear and, caused me to have a moment of reflection for sure. I'd say, what stood out for me, there's a bunch of stuff in here about discipline, but I'm staying away from that one. I think it's like verse 15, 17, verse 21. There's a lot in there about discipline. Um, and Jedediah brought out verse 11 very well. I even think you represent that very well as well, my brother. Um, verse 9, I think that it was kind of similar. That one stands out for me as well as 18, 25, 26, and 27. And with verse 9, what got me, similarly to where we were going with the anger thing, is it's a dispute. When a wise man disputes, so a lot of people think that disputes are just between fools and fools, but no, wise
Which
men,
verse is that, brother? Because
verse 9,
okay, all right,
verse
because
9.
you ran off a couple of them, so I want to make sure we there. At least I'm there
Oh,
anyway.
yes.
Yeah.
Oh, yes, sir. Verse
Okay.
9.
Okay.
Oh, sometimes when I'm going through these, they're so good as is, and it really just bums me out to,
Mm-hmm.
try to grab it any other way. But what I did see in this was it talks about the dispute that a wise man can have.
Mm-hmm.
And I would think in this situation, he's a man trying to do like what Jedediah was saying. He's trying to calm it down. But there are going to be times where like we were saying, like it just goes too far. And it says at the end of it, whether he rages or laughs, there is no peace. Um, that word peace, I think, would be better translated as rest. It's coming from the root word of nach, which it means rest. So, but that's just me. Um, but I think like where is the rest? Well, that's typically what a wise man wants to do in a dispute. But your emotions, bring comfort is what I'm saying. You want to bring peace. You want to bring a conclusion. You want to bring clarity and understanding. What it doesn't always come so easily. And often the emotions can go all the way up. It has rage and laughter in the same place. And I think if you've ever been in a situation where someone didn't get it, it may cause some mixed emotions to come out in you. And laughter isn't always because something is funny. People can laugh
Right,
for all
right,
sorts of reasons.
right.
I think my favorite
Absolutely.
mention of laughter is Psalms chapter 2. I think it's like verse 4. I don't have it pulled up right here. But it says that Yah looks at them and he laughs. He's laughing because the nations have thought that they could take a stand against him. But it also says that he speaks to them in his rage. So we see that that's the Most High, and there it is, some human emotion being attached to the way that he would show himself, but at the same time we're seeing that from disputes can come a lot of different things to bring a conclusion. And if anybody has ever been in a dispute where you really have stuck it out because you wanted someone to get the answer, I've learned that, and you said it to me plenty of times, you just got to have a moment where you come to the conclusion. Because as it says here, there will be no rest. So some of these things take time. Some of those things you're going to have to come back to. But as someone who's experienced this plenty of times in the place of disputes, um, it isn't always easy. It takes two to want to get to the conclusion, and then the emotional roller coaster along the way may take some time for the adrenaline and things to calm down. So I just like that because this is I feel like it's a very human experience. Two people wanting to come to a conclusion, yet it didn't come. And husbands and wives experience that. I knew I experienced it. Friends, coworkers, this can happen anywhere. I just hope that we could be the wise man here in the dispute and be like you were saying earlier with Jedediah and hold it back and not lose your cool, because then we're no different from the fool at that point. Um, I'd say another thing that hit me is verse 18. This one, I think you may have taught on this before in the past, Moray. So if I'm repeating you, just oh, that was good. But
Oh, that was
but verse
good. That.
18, verse 18, where there is no vision, the people are let loose. But blessed is he who guards the Torah. I think what really got me was the where there is no vision. One thing that makes a leader, in my opinion, such a needed individual is, of course, the relationship with the Most High, but also their ability to see beyond, you know, see beyond the issue. It's not always like you even just said it, Moray. It's like, is this really going to lead someone to death? Is this really going to cause them to stumble? Is this really going to let them fall off the path of righteousness? And a person of the vision, that has the vision of the Most High, a leader, is really what I'm leaning towards. They're able to discern those things. But where there is no leader or no guidance or anybody who's able to see what should come next, it's always going to be turmoil. And I think often the scripture refers to us as sheep. And I know people like today, there's a mentality like, yo, you don't want to be a sheep. You sheeple, you're just following anything. Well, the idea is like, yes, sheep are dumb. We walk right off a cliff unless the shepherd was there. And that's the point. We need to be guided. Not that we lack in intelligence, skills, know-how.
Yeah,
The
right,
idea
right.
is where the Father is trying to bring us is somewhere better than we can bring ourselves. So we would need that vision. We would need the wiser part of the perspective. And it gives us the answer. He who guards the Torah.
Yes,
And
yes.
what that leads me to is Acts chapter 8, verses 29 through 32. For all of us who are familiar, this is the when Philip was sent to go talk to the eunuch who was coming from Jerusalem back up to Ethiopia. And it says in verse 29 that the Spirit said to Philip to go near to him in the chariot. And it says, as he came up to the chariot, he saw that the eunuch was reading from the prophet Yeshayahu. That's Isaiah in English. And then he asked the question. That's how I know you're dealing with a wise person. He says, "Do you
Mm-hmm.
know what you're reading?"
Mm-hmm.
And then the eunuch, in my opinion, answered what every person who believes in the Most High wants to be genuine about where they're really trying to go. Because they want to
Mm-hmm.
be someone who guards the Torah. He says, "How am I able unless someone guides me?"
Mm-hmm.
And that's what really came out to me. And then we know that he goes and expands. He's reading Yeshayahu 53. Like we all talk about that all the time. It's that is
Mm-hmm.
the passage, the suffering servant of Yahweh, Yeshua Hamashiach.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah,
here,
hallelujah.
here it is. When we're in the Word, just because you have it doesn't mean you have the vision to understand it. But there is going to be those who do guard the Torah that can lead us into a place to where it becomes more than just words. It can become action.
Mm-hmm.
Just as you were saying before with your commentary on Brother Jedediah's statements, and that's why I had nothing to say because I know I got to work on it. I can't talk about that. But it is true, that it does have to go into action. And I think those two things go together in my heart, just thinking I may think I need to go somewhere, but there may be a part I'm not seeing. So, well, if it doesn't lead me to guarding the words of the Torah, perhaps I might be let loose into a path that I have no vision.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, all right. Was you through, my brother? I didn't want to cut
Yes,
you
sir.
off. Okay, I didn't want to cut you off. That's for sure. That was good. The I just wanted to encourage us too. I think you had made a statement about how we deal with different situations, right? Okay, here's one of the things is when say anger. I'm talking about anger, right? But I am talking about it what I should do, right? What I should do. So sometimes I'm talking about a subject and I'm just talking about me. That's reason many times, whether I'm in it or not in it, many times what I say is I'm going to use me. So it's better for that, right? So you will never be, I want to encourage all of us, those that are listening as well. You'll never be 100 and whatever in a certain area, then I can talk about it. We are talking about it because we are trying to grow to it, right? So just because maybe in this area or in this conversation or in this scripture, oh man, I can't say nothing about this because I'm struggling with that. That might be the best time to talk about it. The thing is, people try to do we're gonna say a teaching on it, but when you discussing and like we're doing here, it's always good or in an environment with your husband, with your wives, whatever you may be. It's always good to say because I could teach on anger and then ask my wife as I'm still, well, he's teaching on that, but he gets angry all the time. So nothing should be able to stop you, right, from teaching on it. Just because you teach on something and we can discover people's life, just because they say something about it doesn't mean that they was there. These proverbs, this wisdom that we are reading now, right? If you listen to your own wisdom, maybe you wouldn't be in some places, right? So he's writing it because of the experience, and I think that's very important because sometimes we'll never feel in a place where I can walk it, I can do this. When I look at my own failures, my own shortcomings. Now we don't look over the shortcomings, nor do we try to give counsel in something that we have shortcomings in. Use that particular word, right? But don't never think that you are. When I say you, I'm talking about all of us. When that's listening to this, don't never think that you don't have to say nothing because it's on there, because I learned a lot even about the anger in that, and then people around you will give you an example. Jedediah, you was mentioning something, I don't know, without asking you saying it, what you was talking about, but I done seen him handle a situation in a calm manner, what we would say a calm manner, but you get the same point across. Whereas I may not use that same manner, and then I see him do that, then I say, oh man, that's something that I need to try as well, right? So it does not mean that a person is there just because they if that's the case, none of us in this room or anybody that's listening to us, I think they listening to us. You would never say nothing about marriage. You understand? No, you have to be able to say it because I need to put something before me and realize that this is what I need to be doing, in that. Now, there's some areas again, what people get problems with is they trying to be in leadership teaching positions and you got shortcomings like that, right? Other words, what you're teaching about you're not doing. Now that's a whole different thing on the fact of discussing, talking about, and different things like that. It's always good to talk about it because that way you can get different ideas from other people when you're talking about a situation. If we're talking about a car, a scripture, it can kind of relate to be the same thing, I guess, meaning if I say, well, what do you think about changing the oil? I think we all have something about changing that oil. And it may be a person say, I ain't never changed no oil, but you can still say something about it, right? In that. So, like I say, the sticker is we always are, here's another one, since I thought about it here, or we want to give counsel to someone else when we have the same shortcomings. So we can tell somebody else what to do, but we can't do it, right? So that's another spot you have to be careful in. Now, like I say, in discussion or something that we doing now or whatever, it's always good because we learn from one another. Each time we step up to the plate, everything that falls off my lips, I don't have that. I'm trying to get there. I know what I should do, and I need to get there. So I'm trying to build to that. And some of that is through most of it is through experience. Now I know, and so now I live in that. Right now I know, so now I live in it. That's always important. Now I know, and now I begin to live in it. So I want that to be a great encouragement to us all, to let us know that we can discuss different things because that's how we're going to get there. How can I make my marriage better? I got to be able to talk to somebody else. Well, this is what I need to do, and I need to do that. I need to do this. You may not be there, but that goes back to what you was talking about in verse 18. You have to have a vision, right? So a vision is not complete. You have the vision, and so my vision is to be the best husband that I can. But if I say the best husband stand up, I don't think I have to keep my seat in that sense. You understand? So I had to keep, but I have a vision of the husband. So I got anger. He said, boy, he's angry all the time. And he's up here talking about anger. But no, I got a vision for anger and what that looks like. If I never discuss it, if I never go through it, I never know what it is, right? I would never know what it is to change, but I got to keep at it. I hope that's, really, really need for us to hear that. So I hope, that the Ruach can somehow take my fumbling words and have put that in your heart, or put this in our hearts, that we need to understand that does help us to go forward when we're talking about it. We need the vision. Where there is vision. And what you were saying, my brother, is so. Here's what else I want to give on that since we are there. And the vision, right? You have to have a vision for your home, right? It's very important to have a vision for your home. Let me do this here. Have a vision for your home, right? It's very important. So yes, of course, I would look at that. Let me, like I said earlier, but I want us to, as men, have vision for our home, right? If not, then it says the people are loose. Then your household is loose. This is where it starts at. So how do I build a household that I need a vision for? It's in Torah, right? It's in Torah. If I'm building any other kind of way, my vision is not there. The vision has to be focused on Torah. So this here, it said the people are loose, and I know it's talking about a leader in the nation, and I think Yehoshua brought that out outstanding. But I want to know that it can start in the home. Men need to have the vision, right? And then they would carry it out in Torah. But blessed is he, right? So that follows Torah. So you can't have don't have Torah anymore. And if you don't put away Torah, if you're not doing Torah, then you don't, where your vision going? So you have a vision. Sometimes people have a vision, but their vision is not in Torah. So our vision needs to be in Torah when we have those things as well. So I just wanted to use that, if you would allow me to use that scripture to make sure that we must have those visions for our home. So if I was to ask someone, what is your vision for your home? Of course, it'd be he who guards Torah, right? So whatever you have, you want to teach them and lead them in Torah, right? You want to have a vision to be the best husband. You want to have a vision to be the provider. Have the vision to be the one that displays love, right? We working at these things, in that. So if you go just in the natural, if you go to I always dealing with mechanics, I guess, when I was working at, but if you go to a mechanic shop to get your car fixed, each mechanic in that shop is at different levels, but they all present themselves as technicians, right? Now, in the technician, they all at different levels. One can fix this, one ain't never fixed that. Different experiences in that. And so they all begin to grow, but they are technicians. So sometimes we have to know that being a technician, even though you hadn't worked on a certain thing, you have the skills, you have the tools to work on those things. So you say, I never worked on that, but let me give it a try. So when it comes to different things in our life, say like anger or whatever, it said, okay, I need to work on that, let me give it a try. But you still a technician, so you still in the covenant with the Father. It's just that you need to work on those things, right? And so in the thing, you have what they call like a master, a technician, right? And he may know a lot more by his experience or by his qualifications, right? In that, but he had to get there. He had to get there. So he had to start working on it in order to get there, though, right? So we all are trying to practice those things. Well, to be an encouragement, make sure that we have a vision in Torah, and I think most of us do have a vision in Torah for our family. And if not, if Torah is not setting the boundaries in your home, then you are loose. You're loose. You have nowhere to go. So you become foolish. Him that don't walk out Torah, they become foolish like that. All right, brother Jedediah, I have you to come back up if you have another scripture, and then we going into the wrap up phase, I guess. In that.
I can't wait to get to what you have to say. So,
Oh, okay.
you
All right.
but I real quick, I will land back off of what you
Okay.
said,
Absolutely.
um,
Let me
especially
bring
when
you
it
up here.
comes to when you talked about just
Oh,
giving the advice, you know, all the time, something I learned from you, you don't have to always say something,
right. Uh
you
huh.
know. Someone taught me a long time ago that, when someone's dealing with something, the best thing you can do is just listen, you know.
Mm-hmm.
But
Mm-hmm.
then when they start asking for your opinion, your advice on things, then that's when it's like, okay, let me speak on it, but I can't speak on something I don't know.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Like when it comes to marriage, those who have marriage issues, who in covenant, you should always go seek out leadership for it, you
Mm-hmm.
know.
Mm-hmm.
But if you can't get to leadership, then go to those who are married. You wouldn't go to no one who's not married for marriage
Mm-hmm.
advice. If
Right.
you having
Right.
problems with your wife or your husband, the last person you want to go talk to is somebody who ain't married. You know,
Right.
because I had someone who I talked to before, and when I talk to them, and I am giving advice, and the advice that I'm giving them is something that I dealt with, something that
Mm-hmm.
I know about.
Mm-hmm.
And that
Mm-hmm.
person, every time I talk to that person about something, it's like, man, you always know what to say in this situation. I'm like, but I'm giving you something that I know, something that
Mm-hmm.
I had previous experience with, like you said, Elder. And then that person presented me with something that I didn't know nothing about. And I'm like, man, you got to go get with some leadership on this one because
Yeah.
I never dealt with that.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know nothing about that. So it was just for me, I knew that I had to protect myself and protect that person in that situation because I can mean well in what I say, but
Yes.
whatever I give you, if it's not adding up, then I'm out of pocket. There's just certain things that I've never dealt with. It's me, my wife, and my children. If someone tries to come to me for advice on how to deal with, for the sake of the argument, I mean, not argument,
Yeah.
for the
Yeah.
sake of
Yeah.
this conversation,
Right. Right.
someone try to bring me something about a baby mama, I don't know what to tell you about that.
Yeah.
I don't know how to deal with that. You dealing with a child that you bringing up that's not your own.
Mm-hmm.
Only thing I can tell you is treat that child like you would treat your own. Other
Mm-hmm.
than that, I don't know what to tell you. Let's go to leadership. Let's get you in a place where so I know where you're going to get some really good wisdom in that area. And I really love what you had to say about that because there are a lot of people out here, who are not qualified in certain areas, touching on things and speaking on things that
Right.
they shouldn't be doing.
That's right. Absolutely.
If I'm a heart
Mm-hmm.
doctor, I shouldn't be trying to perform brain surgery. So,
Right. Right.
but that's all
That's
I had to
right.
say about that. Elder.
Yes, sir. Well, I thought that was real good there, my brother. In that, and hopefully, I may get to what I wanted to do there. But this is good. This is good stuff to know, and what I'm getting at, what you're saying, to know your limitations. That is going to be good. I think you have just displayed if somebody wanted to know what your limitations is. But sometimes I know when I was younger, sometimes you want to have an answer for every man, in that, and so, but sometimes you have to know your limitation. I can say this, and this is the other thing we need to understand. Most time when people you asking somebody something, they're coming from a opinion situation, and I think we taking the opinion like if it was the word from Yah, and I think that's where we make a big mistake sometimes. I'm asking you, it's coming from your opinion. If I'm not, if you not say have a scripture, whatever, but like you said about marriage, about this, it's just kind of it's kind of out there. So I shouldn't put too much weight in what you're saying about your particular opinion. Now when you have leadership and counsel, then it's more weight. If you allow me to say, it's more weight. We'll say a weightier matter. You have light, so just opinion is more light. And I'm just using this, and you have more weight in that. So I'm just trying to give us, where we sometimes people put more weight in people's opinion than they do in the word of Yah, right? And so that's the reason sometimes that those things come about, and we don't, we really don't want to do that, but it's good. I think that what you were saying, if a person could learn how, the wise man, the wise woman learns how to, okay, I can't address that. I just need to, I ain't gonna address that. I ain't gonna say nothing about that. If you can learn that, and like you say, I can't talk nothing about that. So for instance, you could talk about, like you were saying, okay, say the young lady has, you said baby mama, the young lady has a son, right? You could, there's some things you say, you got a son, and my son, he always does this. You can say, oh, okay, yeah, I know, when they little like that, most of them boys, they'll do dust, 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 right? But then you can get in a certain subject about that. Then, like you were saying, that I can't comment on that because I don't know. Now it's time to go to leadership. What happens to people? They try to comment on it, you know, in that, and so sometimes you have to know your limits. I guess is what I'm saying. Your personal limits on what to comment on, what to go in is, and then when to pass it. And I think sometimes that's where we, because we just go and go and go, we don't realize that, okay, this is an area that I don't need to say nothing in. I can say something here, but this is the area maybe I don't need nothing to say. And sometimes it comes in discussion. It's according with the context of what's going on. If you're discussing something, then okay. If you're not, that's another. I think the biggest thing is when we discussing something and if somebody say something that I agree with, then I hold on to that. And then maybe someone else on the weightier matter comes to give counsel. I already had somebody to agree with me on this. But you saying something different. So that's where sometimes the sticker or the problem comes in at as well, in those different things. So those are the things that it's just good. It's good. You guys are bringing out some outstanding situations and things. So it's good stuff. All right, Yehoshua, you come around for your last and final bell. Ding, ding, ding.
Okay. Um, you kind of teased us saying you had something to say.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Oh, early. Well, yeah, yeah, yeah. So you want to kind of default to me? Is that what you trying to say?
That sounds like a great idea.
Well, what I want. Well, I wanted to deal with 15. I think you mentioned it, but I also struggling with the fact that I wanted to deal, and I think this we'll say this will be a bonus round for those that may want to find a place in their heart to maybe go go maybe tired or something. So the verse 12, I want to share something with verse 12 real quick. Now, what I am going to share is going to be something that we can all use. I would say the ruler or whatever, but no matter where you're going, you can use this. I'm gonna give you. When I was looking at it, it was I don't know. It was several. Let me come up here. It was several. I done lost somebody. Did I die? Did we lose you? I think I might have lost him. Yeah,
No,
it's
sir, I'm
Hey,
coming.
here.
JD, your camera's black. Oh, okay.
Okay, there you go. He come back with it. Welcome back, my brother. Okay, all right. Let me come over. All right, okay. Verse 12. So what I wanted to do is give you just a pointers. Hopefully this will help you through my walk and dealing with being in the position that I am, and I know that even with you in your own lives, whoever in that, it says if a ruler listen to lying words. When I begin to deal with that, I was saying that I could not understand. I do understand, but I don't understand why people would say something to me and I know they're lying, or you find out they're lying. Now, I am not talking about people that's in the world. I'm talking about those that's in covenant, those that claim to be in covenant. That's when it tells us not to lie to one another, right? It says we usually pronounce tell the truth to one another, right? We've been down this road before. So I'm not going to belate it because if you look at when we went through everything, lie to one another, all that, that's in there. So, but what I am saying is normally, right, if somebody's doing that, I'm judging it in my head. Most time I won't come out and say, you are not telling the truth. But most time I know you are not telling the truth. Your stories are not lining up, right? In that. So if I listen to that after I know that you have been lying, then it's going to cause problems, especially if I have to make a judgment or if I have to do something. Because those that's under you, same thing with, if you're at work or whatever, so you can apply it to wherever, So since I'm the overseer, I'm applying it like this, right? So the thing is, when people are lying to you, right? And you believe them. Now, here's one of the things, some people they can get very spiritually and they say, "Oh yeah, the spirit is going to let me know when you're lying." Well, maybe I'm not there because when somebody telling you something, you don't automatically say, and anybody that's doing law or any judges or whatever, you don't even judge a situation like that, right? So when somebody's telling you something, I believe what you're telling me, right? I believe that. And the only reason that it turns out to be different is because maybe a certain topic, a certain subject, something that you are doing is not lining up. So if somebody came to me and said, I asked you, I said, is that your husband? And they say, no, that's not my husband, right? I believe them. And I'm using a situation. I believe them. Oh, okay, that's not their husband. And then they say they go and go inside the store. Say I was outside the store. I asked them, is that your husband? They say no. So they went inside the store and here comes the man that I said, is that your husband? And I say, oh, I thought that was your wife. I'm sorry. And they say, it is my wife. Oh, okay. So now I know. But when she told me that man was not her husband, I 100% believed her, right? So of course, this what I'm giving an example on is not the maybe the more of a judgment of the ruler here, right? But 100% now, it would be not beneficial if I knew that. Say that, okay, both of them, they went in the store and then say they came, I'm just using this, okay? Say they came to the assembly. They came to the assembly and I did not say nothing, right? I did not say nothing. All right. And she came and she said, I got, I seen this gentleman over here and I am, I don't know, I have a way of, I may want to marry him, but I never told her that that's your husband over there, right? Because I found that out. So now to be a ruler that listen to lies, then I say, wow, she does, she does have a lot of money, so I am gonna let her marry him. You know, I well, it's gonna hurt everybody because I knew that lie, right? I knew that was a lie, right? And so I'm just making up a story off the top of my head now. So I knew that was a lie, right? Now, but if she came to me and said, I want to marry so and so, and I said, well, but that's your husband. And she may have an expression on her face. I say, that's your husband over there. So you can't marry him because that's your husband. But the thing is, why did you lie to me? You know, why did you do that? So the things is to make sure that we as leaders don't listen to lying words. And the lying words is when you find out something. Because sometimes you don't know, especially when you first meet somebody or whatever, you just don't know in that and how those things come about. So it is very, very important, right? When we looking at those things that are flattery, right? When we talking about lying words, They can be flattery. They can be false accusing somebody, right? So it can be deception. This is what we're talking about in those lying words. So if I believe those things, then you can have people around you that lie in high places. But if you believe them, whether you at work or whatever, whoever the leader is, if they believe it, then they could, turn their whole organization into something, of what that is. So we always need to investigate those things and to make sure that we follow through in those things, right? It was something else that I wanted to see here, just a short in that, because if your leader is dishonest, then he's going to breed dishonesty in your whole assembly or culture, wherever you are at, right? That's where it's going to be. It doesn't matter whether it's a nation or it's your job or whatever, right? Dishonesty. And sometimes we have a lot of that going on. But when the truth is upheld, then the integrity of that is on a whole different level, right? It's on a whole different level in that. So that is when we are dealing with today is one of the most dangerous things to deal with is trying to figure out what is the truth and what's not the truth. That's something that is very, very taxing to us. It is something, it's just on a whole nother level, because it's so much mixture out there of the truth and of lies. And so a good wise man, they take their time and go through that. So, in other words, they seek out the matter before they make a decision. Because people will stand, I don't care how long you know them, they'll stand in front of your face and tell you things that will be lies on the fact of being deception to somebody, right? They would do that. So we have to be careful. And so you should not tolerate though a continual those that continue to be dishonest, gossip and all of those things because it will influence everyone else around you. A lie is really, 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 really because when somebody's telling you something you don't know, you do not know and I don't discredit that the spirit won't tell you something like that. I think you was in Acts before, my brother, and was saying that, they came in and they said, well, you also lied, right? And so I think sometimes if we start falling out when we lie, then maybe we wouldn't do as much. But again, you can do that. And so I will say that to say all this, to say the fact that maybe the Ruach will tell you something, but that's far in between, according to what I think, according to what it is and how it is. But people can be deceiving in that. The simplest fact in that. Sometimes you can make decisions on that, and then what's around you, and then that. So why does like I said earlier in the example that I gave you, why would leaders choose to even listen to a lie rather than the truth? Why would they do that, right? And so what happens is somebody else told the leaders the lie, and now they telling you the lie. And then they telling others. So it's a lot of people in the religious systems that has been told lies, right? That's because the leader believes the lie, right? And since they believe the lie, then it comes down to everyone else in that, according to what subject that is. So, that was I cut it down a little bit, but that was the brief. What really kind of stood out to me in that as well is the fact that listening to those lies and people lying to you. Stop lying to people. Stop lying at your job. Stop lying to your mother. Stop lying to your father. Stop lying. You are lying, and we need to stop it though. And you can tell the truth. It's easy to tell the truth. Don't dramatize it, right? Sometimes we dramatize it. Don't dramatize it. you know, in that. The truth is the truth. And you know what the truth is. So you need to tell somebody that truth. You know what it is, right? If you're talking to somebody, you know what it is. Very, very, very important. And what really strikes my heart and what gets my heart is I know you're dealing with people, but what really gets my heart is that person really thinks I didn't know that they're not telling the truth in that. And so we deal with that all the time now, even at the jobs or whatever. You deal with people not telling you the truth. They'll tell you, oh, everything's all right. The business is going good. You go in the next day and they got all the doors locked. And you got a sign on the door and say, we closed down. Somebody lied, right? But they lied because they didn't want you to leave. You know, those things are out of your control in that, right? So you have different things, but I tell you, lies will destroy countries. Lies will destroy cities. Lies will destroy you. They will. They destroyed from the beginning, and they will destroy you. So those of us that are in covenant with one another, we have to practice the truth. We have to practice the truth. You know, we have to do that. And if you was lying to someone, you need to fix it. Right? You need to fix that. You just can't talk about oh, just everything's gonna be all right. What you lying for? You need to fix it. You know, how you gonna be in a covenant with the Most High and you're lying? You are a liar. That's foolishness, right? That's foolishness. So make sure that that's what just on me. Even that is, talking to those that are overseers and those are leaders, and maybe they don't fit everybody in this room here, but we need to stop lying. We need to stop it, and some of it we just deceive, we don't know. But those of you that know the truth, I didn't talk to people that know the truth, and you still teaching stuff that that's a lie. I mean, sometimes we have misinformation. That's a big thing now, right? But know that that is not the truth in that, right? And also in, I think in 15, I was gonna, I don't, let me just, maybe I have to do that another time. In that about the rod and reproof, giving wisdom, because I was talking to somebody earlier in was bringing this up, and the fact that the rod and reproof. Now, one thing you have to understand is a child must understand what's going on, right? That's the one thing. They must understand what's going on. So when you're using this, you're not using just the rod without reproof, right? So reproof is the correction. The reproof is the teaching. The reproof is the warning. The reproof is the rebuke. Reproof. That's what you tie that on with. Also, the rod can also mean correction. Doesn't mean you just get out and get a rod, right? You start hitting folk, right? Physically, I mean that it ties in that now. Don't get me wrong, but we have to make sure that we have firm boundaries, okay, and that they understand that. And if they don't get restrained, it says in here they bring shame to their mom or their mother here. But if it's not in control, if they're not in control, then it'll come out. If it's not in control, it'll come out. So I just want to lightly hit that. That can go. That's pretty deep. When I was starting to look into those things, different things, in that. But we won't continued on that. So any questions, those that I said may have some questions, if you have a question or something like that, you can put that in there in the chat here, and I'll give you a couple of minutes. Brothers, you can come up and that'll give them a couple of minutes if they have a question on that. So anyone you want to, if it's something I need to clarify or something right there, I'm not clear if was that understandable. That's the reason I have you gentlemen here. It's always good because I know what I want to say in my head sometimes.
Yes,
Oh
sir,
yeah,
it was.
yeah. It was good, Elder. Um,
Okay.
very clear. I mean, you're raising future leaders, so we can definitely take that to heart, and hopefully that stick with us for the rest of our lives.
The the one thing that I just use me in my own life in that is you can you do not have to. I don't know why I keep going back. You do not have to lie. You can practice the truth. It was many times that I had a opportunity to, and you will get those opportunities to not tell the truth, you know. And some of those things was going to be hurtful to me. Some of those things I wouldn't know how the person would look at me again, but I had to tell the truth. When you start living in the lane of telling the truth, it gets easier in the sense of, especially if you're a person that was lying or try to make you look better. Most times the lying comes about when you're trying to make yourself look better. But if you're a person that tells the truth, right? And in that. And I'm talking about in the discussion, you don't have to go out and say, tell everybody, oh, I used to break in houses, and I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about when we discussing or we trying to get something with one another, and definitely the leaders would have people around him that would try to help him or motivate him and aid him in the decision making. Who was that? We had a king. Remember, he had who was that? I think it was a young man. I can't think of it. Remember, had the king. He listened
Yo,
to
but
yeah. He listened to someone else, right? And he should have been. He give you more stripes, and we gonna beat you with. So again, we looking at those things. It's very. I think it's very important. So you saying how do I do it? I start telling the truth. Sometimes you catch yourself, right? You say, oh man, that wasn't. You know. So we need to tell the truth. Be honest up front. That's the best thing you do. The more you do it, but there's consequences on that one sometimes. Because if you say I stole something, I shoplift, and the police say, "Was you in there shoplifting?" You would have to say, "Yeah, that was me." Well, you shouldn't have been shoplifting, but I'm trying to use an example, right? You have to say, then there's consequences on it, right? I wrote a bad check, so Hebrews don't write bad checks, do we? Nope, we don't do that. In that. So some people will write checks when we used to write checks a lot, and I still know people do. They write a check and they didn't have no money in the bank, but they would write a check and you didn't have the funds to cover that. Put it that way. You might have some money in there, but you didn't have the funds to cover that because you're trying to, catch a check. Well, the check will be there tomorrow because I can write it now. Well, that you just wrote a lie. You wrote a hot check because you didn't have that particular money in there, and maybe it went through, in that. So we have to be careful. We just have to be careful in that. So I was trying to wait to see if anyone. They probably all sleep on me. They left us, didn't they? In that, and I guess it would be okay though. I guess they're okay in that. That should have been enough time. Let me see over here. Try to figure out where the delay was at in that. So I'm not too good at it as far as the delay is concerned. So trying to, I think I think you would have got it by now. Okay, well, all good. I hope that it was an encouragement. I just asked you, brothers. I hope I wasn't coming off abusive or nothing. I hope.
no, sir.
Yeah,
It's
I just,
serious, so it should be handled
yeah,
seriously.
yeah. So it's just one of those things, and I'll pray to the Most High, because if you can do that, that'll be victory in your life. It is so much better, especially husband and wives, man. Y'all start telling the truth to each other, boy. You'll be on a whole nother level But it could hurt. I think sometimes we say we don't want to. We call it hurt your feelings, right? Or do this. But if you don't tell me the truth, then you're deceiving me. In that, you're deceiving me. So we can't start on that level because then you'll try to please everybody. If you try to please everybody, it's
Oh
it's
yeah.
not gonna work. It's not gonna work in that. So let's practice those things. So it'll be good things. Well, brothers, we're gonna let you go here. I think we done wrapped it up in that. Well, did you have anything else though? I say wrap it up, but are we good?
No, sir.
Okay, all right, okay. Well, we're gonna set all of you free, and anyone in the room, we appreciate you. And then those of you that might be looking at this and get this far, really, really, I say with one another, please, please practice those things, right? Practice the things. When you're reading Proverbs, practice those things. Put them into practice. Maybe you can't have all 31 chapters, but just get a few verses and start practicing it. It's very, very important in that. So, all right, my brothers, shalom, shalom to the whole house of Israel.